Hi, my name is Jackson Dodd, and this is my persuasive speech. Buzz Aldrin warned that if the next president does not make space exploration a priority, the United States will lag behind other countries in the space race for the next century. This came from Elena Toder. The U.S. spends 0.5% of its budget on NASA. NASA then in turn has to disperse these funds not only to themselves, but also to SpaceX and Boeing in order to try to create something big and fund something big. NASA, even though it has little to no money to do all these great things, is still doing a great job along with the help of Boeing and SpaceX. The United States should spend a bigger part of its budget on space exploration. To fix this issue, the government needs to do three things. Number one, everyone needs to be more involved. In order to get this movement started and on a roll, people need to be more involved and understand this problem and serious issue more. Number two, the U.S. needs to reevaluate their budget. They need to stop spending unnecessary funds on things like welfare and unnecessary handouts. And number three, right now, NASA is being forced to depend on other organizations to stay alive and operational, just like I mentioned, SpaceX and Boeing. Involvement is important. It's a huge step in running a big organization such as NASA, all the way down to running a small business. President Donald J. Trump wants to raise NASA's budget to $25.2 billion for the fiscal year beginning in October, an increase of 12% over the current years. This came from Megan Bartles. So this budget increase is a fantastic step in the right direction. It's a great start, but it's still just not going to be enough. Space exploration and space equipment are very, very expensive. NASA hasn't had this budget since 1995. And let me show you a couple diagrams. My first image is of the government's overall spending for 2019. As you can see, NASA is just this little sliver of 0.5%. And my second graph is just a line graph showing all the way back from 1959 all the way to a projected salary of 2025. And NASA has not had this budget of $25.2 billion since 1965, which is this little hump right here, just about there. So as I said, space isn't cheap. Money just adds stress to the whole exploration and a whole organization that just isn't necessary. Exploration of space and the unknown is stressful enough. NASA's original space shuttle, which last launched in 2012, costed an average of $450 million to launch. Whereas of now, SpaceX, with the help of Elon Musk, has created a rocket that can launch for just $47 million. This cuts it back substantially, and this is a huge step in the right direction because the partnership between NASA and SpaceX is proving that they want to be cheaper and they want to find better ways to do things. The U.S. needs to prioritize its budget. Handouts, unneeded organizations, and welfare are just plain out a waste of money. And this extra money that it will attain by reducing these organizations and wastes of money can find a great useful home in NASA's pocket. The U.S. spent $21.5 billion on NASA in 2019, and $773 billion on welfare. Now, this is just outrageous, and it just doesn't make sense. Things need to change right now, because this is backwards. The U.S. needs to stop the mandatory expenses such as welfare and unneeded organizations, because bad spending in turn just digs a deeper and deeper hole for the U.S. Whereas on the other hand, NASA, if they spend their money on NASA, we have a better understanding of the unknown. We have a better defense system, and it's just fascinating to not only the people who work there, but also just to the whole world. I'll go ahead and show you my third and final chart. As you can see, this is 2018 and this is 2019, and these are the top five categories that the U.S. has spent its budget on, and welfare sits at spot number 3. And in 2018, they spent 18% of their budget on welfare, and in 2019, they spent 17%. Since 1965 to 2011, welfare programs quadrupled, going from 0.83% to 4.4%, which is the exact opposite of NASA's budget. I'll go back to the line graph. So in 1965, which is right here, you can see that welfare programs were at an all-time low, and NASA's budget was at an all-time high. And as welfare started getting more and more popular, more and more expensive, NASA's budget went down the drain. Starvation of money is affecting everyone. Every adult has a memory of a space launch or space travel, whether it was a tragedy or the first moon landing. Everyone has some sort of memory, whether it's in their childhood or adulthood. NASA hasn't launched a manned ship since July 8th of 2012. And this is just heartbreaking, because NASA was on a roll and they had everything figured out because they had the government to back them up. But in 2012, everything went downhill. And the budget still holds funds for NASA to be able to send unmanned vehicles, but I think we can all agree that this is just not as exciting. It's not exciting because we're not sending a human to explore and experience the unknown. Elon Musk, who's the owner of SpaceX, he's an entrepreneur and a billionaire, has brought these memories back. He's working to build SpaceX stronger, but not only SpaceX, also NASA. By partnering with NASA, he's been able to make things cheaper, faster, and safer. Also, by partnering with NASA, SpaceX plans to finish a moon base in the year 2024. That's crazy and mind-blowing, but it's probably mind-blowing because NASA has been just about dead for the last 8 years because they had no funds. But then someone comes with money and the funds and the ability to do something great, and they just do it. So this is why the government needs to back NASA up and be a partner instead of seeing it as a bill and a payment. And the fact that SpaceX is able to make things cheaper, faster, and safer is just more of the reason of why NASA, SpaceX, and Boeing is a better investment than welfare. In conclusion, the government needs to be more involved. They need to cease unnecessary expenses, and NASA is close to great things while working with others. So just imagine that NASA has been able to do really good and great things with little to no money or funding. Just imagine what they can do. Just imagine the mind-blowing things they can do with a proper budget and a proper funding. And that's all I have. Thank you.